If you've been missing less scripted content from me, this is definitely going to be a more casual video. As you can see, we're casually sitting on a couch to have a nice casual chat about the 2021 iPad Pro models, the upcoming ones. And I'm not gonna lie, it seems like we've been waiting longer than a year for a new model. And I kind of attribute this sentiment to all the March speculation that fell through, all hilariously illustrated by Jon Prosser's eyebrows or the lack thereof. Although I will say, in retrospect, the 2020 iPad Pro models were also kind of unexciting. I mean, sure, we got LiDAR and an ultra-wide camera, but two key components or aspects, display and performance, were essentially unchanged. iPad Pro 2021, however, is rumored to hit both of these key neglected areas. The question is, when is this happening? And how will these changes affect you as an iPad Pro user and consumer? So yeah, today we're gonna talk about this, hopefully for the last time. In terms of when, my best guess is early April, but who knows at this point. Apple has gotten increasingly mysterious, unpredictable, and strict when it comes to leaked bits surrounding their products and events. A few days ago, I was listening to iUpdate lament and joke about how Apple decided to announce the date of their 2021 Worldwide Developers Conference 69 days before it begins, with no mention of a spring event whatsoever. No need to cry yet, though, if you actually reference Apple's newsroom site, which has all of their press releases listed in chronological order. You can see that they announced WWDC 2020 5 days before they announced the 4th Gen iPad Pros. So at the very least, this means that Apple has yet to notify us of an April or a spring event, even though once again, they've already told us when WWDC is happening. As for actual hardware changes, I know for a fact you've heard about them from the endless YouTube leaks videos and recycled articles that have probably showed up in your feed for the past few months. So I'll try not to bore you with excessive specification explanation, that's a fun sentence, and instead talk about how these hardware changes will once again affect you as an iPad Pro user. For starters, the display is receiving a bit of a facelift. I'm sure you've heard that Apple is planning on implementing mini LED panels, which bring higher contrast and better color. It's as simple as that. There's no increased resolution or size or refresh rate. It all comes down to color and contrast and maybe brightness. According to MacRuver's Julie Clover, mini LED displays are also a bit more power efficient compared to the quote cold cathode fluorescent lighting used for LCD panels in the past. So I'll ask a rhetorical question, what does this mean to you? Well, until I have one of these iPad Pros in person, I can't really gauge how much better the mini LED displays are, but at the very least, I can say that if you own a 2015 or 2017 iPad Pro, this gives you even more of a reason to upgrade. I say this because though the 2018 and 2020 models have a sleeker display design, quality-wise they aren't much different from the 2017 models, which boast the same P3 color gamut, contrast, resolution, and 120Hz ProMotion refresh rate. The jump in display quality is also great if you're a content creator. Whether you edit photos or videos, increased contrast and color quality are always welcome additions that make your content appear more true to life and accurate. As for more typical tasks like note-taking and media consumption, is this display update that big of a deal? Maybe, probably not in my opinion, but again, I have to have one of these iPads in person to make my final judgment. Increased battery life is another thing we could expect, although this isn't mentioned anywhere specifically that I've seen or read. I can make this inference due to a few key details. One, as I previously mentioned, mini LED sucks less power. Two, although it's highly likely the overall design won't change much at all, I've heard that the chassis of the iPad Pro is going to get a bit thicker by a substantial amount, I would say 0.5 millimeters in some reports. I can also only guess that Apple is cramming a bigger battery on the inside due to this, all the while making the camera module more flush to the back of the device with the increased thickness. And finally, three, this point actually sort of serves as a transition to the next, increased energy efficiency. With the new processor usually comes better CPU architecture, which allows it to do more while consuming less power. And speaking of a new CPU, this might be the most notable, important, talked about aspect when it comes to the upcoming 2021 iPad Pro models. Whether it's the A14X or if it's the M1 itself, we know this thing is going to be really powerful. Some have said M1 level performance, others have said close to it. To make a long story short, the 5th Gen iPad Pros are going to be even better at tasks like video editing, rendering, gaming, and pushing the iPadOS experience on a daily basis. However, if you're sketching, note-taking, and using your iPad Pro for more general work, like me for example, unless you want to review the thing or be on the bleeding edge of tech, I personally would refrain from buying until there's another substantial design overhaul, or if performance becomes an issue with your current or future workflow. Two final smaller details that I want to touch on involve cellular connectivity and input. 5G connectivity is very likely to come to the iPad Pro line, which is great if you can take advantage of it. Apple is also rumored to be unveiling a 3rd-gen Apple Pencil, which, as I discussed in a previous video, would feature a glossy finish and interchangeable tips, a bit of info derived from a recent Apple patent. That's about all we know about this upcoming stylus as of right now, so I guess we have to wait until the spring event, which hopefully happens sooner than later. So to sum things up and wrap things up, iPad Pro 5th generation is going to be the device to upgrade to depending on how old your current Pro model is or how much additional performance you need. But if you're happy with your current iPad Pro user experience and you're less of a prosumer or a pro user compared to others who would really benefit from a better display and processor, I would consider, preparing to keep your current model. I'd say the 2018 and 2020 models are very future-proofed. If you ask me, I would keep mine for what I do, which is primarily digital note-taking and sketching and drawing, if I wasn't a tech enthusiast and tech YouTuber, to be more specific. So, hanging on to your iPad Pro isn't a bad idea, although, save your final judgments once again until us reviewers, come out with actual reviews of these products. This is all speculation at this point, so I want to have this product in hand before I make any more judgments, as I've continued to say here. And who knows, if you're thinking about holding on to your current device, you could eventually be swayed to buy a new one, and of course, vice versa. And that about wraps things up here. I hope this video was helpful. I have been sitting in crisscross applesauce for the past 42 minutes and 46 seconds. My feet are definitely asleep. And that is Alex, by the way. Alex! Alex. He has AirPods in. Alex! Alex! Say hi to the people.
Hi.
Let's see if it focuses on you. There you go. So, for those of you who wanted to see him in a video, there you go. I hope this video... Okay. Okay. I hope this video is helpful. Once again, if I haven't already said that, I'd appreciate it if you leave a like, comment, and of course subscribe for more content like this. Subscribe for upcoming iPad Pro reviews and comparisons and, Mac content, the typical Apple stuff. And as always, I'm Noah, and I will catch you all in the next one. Oh my God, my knees. Oh, Jesus. Oh. Damn, I feel like 500 years old. Wow. Okay. You okay, mister?
Old man.